Republicans are lashing out at President Biden following the Bureau of Labor Statistics release of the June Consumer Price Index today.
That's right. The report, which does lag a bit, shows inflation surged to a 41-year high of 9.1% last month. The House Republicans' Twitter account reposted a year-old video of the president addressing inflation concerns. At the time, Mr. Biden said most price increases in the U.S. would be temporary.
Joining us now is CBS News reporter Sarah Ewall-Wice. Sarah, you've been covering this issue, I know. So inflation soared even higher in June than economists expected. How significant is the latest CPI report in terms of what it says about the state of our current economy?
Hi, Elaine. Yes, this is not a good inflation report. Prices are up 9.1% from a year ago. Economists had anticipated it be about 8.8%, so more than economists had expected. Prices month to month were up 1.3% in June after going up 1% in May. And, you know, when we looked at the CPI numbers from May's report, prices were up 8.6% year over year. So this shows that they're continuing to go up. This is fueled by a number of different factors. We've seen broad inflation across the board. One of the big factors in this specific report is gas prices up 60% year over year, 11% in June. Food prices, something that people can't avoid going out and buying, that is up 12% year over year when it comes to groceries. Even if you're trying to save money and eat at home, groceries up 12% year over year, and it's across all major food groups. So that is a challenge. That's the fastest increase we've seen since 1979. And the third component here I want to mention is the cost of housing. Housing year over year is up 5.6%, including last month rent. That was up 0.8%, and that, of course, is the largest increase we've seen in rent on a monthly increase since 1986. So across the board, it's a challenge. These prices will definitely be fueling a more aggressive Fed. They have another meeting at the end of this month and are expected to make another significant rate hike at that meeting based on these numbers and the strong jobs report we saw earlier this month.
Right. And Sarah, again, we should point out that this is a little bit of a lagging indicator, and gas prices have gone down a bit since the period this report it was looking at. So with all of that in mind, how concerned should Americans be that, you know, inflation remains so high? And is there any idea when they can expect it to come down in some of those other areas like food and housing?
Yes, so this has been a real challenge projecting when inflation will come down. I think many people are very hesitant to make those projections or predictions at this time. You mentioned the president saying those prices would be temporary. He wasn't alone in that. Last year, we had the Fed also saying that these price increases would be temporary, but we've seen challenges with ongoing supply chain issues. And then we had the war in Ukraine driving up food and energy prices. This is just a snapshot in time. So you're right. Gas prices have come down significantly since this report. Looking at gas prices a month ago, they were on average above $5. Now they're about $4.63 a gallon. So that is something, like you said. The other aspect we're seeing some easing is potentially is food prices. Those, of course, still very high, much too high. But we've seen some commodities start to ease there since the report came out looking at July numbers. Another thing to keep in mind is international shipping costs have come down slightly, so that could be another factor here at play. So really, it's hard to gauge exactly where we're going. The core inflation number, that is a number that does not include energy and food prices. That was 5.9% year over year, so slightly down from the 6% that we saw when the report came out last month, looking at May year over year. But it's really hard to say exactly where that will head. And again, there's a lot of concern about whether the Fed will drive prices down and we'll end up in a recession. So there's a lot of balancing act issues going on right now.
Lots of moving parts indeed.
Yes.
Well, Sarah Ewall-Wice, we thank you as always for joining us.
Of course.